All right, go for it.
Now, broadcasting on Radio Star Worldwide, it's time for Dr. Rademaker's Prescription for Transformation. Let's tap into your own authentic genius and live the life you desire.
You are now listening to...
Join Dr. Rademaker for an enlightened conversation about our brain intelligence, our body intelligence, and our energy intelligence. And now, here's your host, Dr. Bart Rademaker.
So welcome. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, trying to get everything all lined up the way it's supposed to. I forgot to click a couple buttons last time, and so even though I went live on YouTube, did not go live on Facebook. You know, technology at its best, at its worst when you're doing it all on your own. But that's the fun part of life. It's really that growth, that discovery of what's really important to you. Where do you want to go in life? And that, frankly, is what today is all about. It's your compass. You know, what is your compass and what is your standard? Let me write that note down because I know I had to talk about that as well. You know, what's your compass for 2019? And how do we actually figure that out? And so as you kind of reflect on your past, you know, what was 2018 all about? What was 2017, 2016, or maybe the last decade? You know, what was that really for you? And are you at a place that says, you know, I really accomplished everything that I really wanted to accomplish? And I get a thrill when I talk to these people who, you know, they're totally dialed in. You know, they've done the things. They've retired at the age of 36. I mean, wow, how awesome is that? In fact, in my case, my life really started when I was 37. You know, I did 17 years of medical training. And so I didn't really get started till then. And here are some people that are able to retire. I mean, how awesome is that? And so the challenge I think that happens way too often is that we don't get the insight, the knowledge, the inspiration, even motivation to get dialed into our future. You know, my particular case, you know, I started medical school when I was 17. A few gaps here and there in the process until I was 37 to actually get my own practice going. But by the age of 21, it was really clear what the rest of my life was going to be about. And I feel very fortunate that I made those decisions then. I don't know how I made them. I just ended up making those decisions. And that's really a cool thing. So where are you in your life? You know, and as I look at, you know, myself looking back then, I thought to myself, you know what? I want to be retired by the age of 55. My model was actually my own father, incredibly successful guy. And he retired when he was 55. That was really early in those days. And so that was my idea. Well, I'm a little older than 55. I don't want to give away my actual age, right? But the truth is that I didn't reach that mark. And so where are you for your mission in life? And what is that compass? So it really begins with a couple of things. It really is based on the fundamentals of your identity. Who are you? And one of the coolest things that I got to discover all these years of traveling in different countries, speaking different languages, I never really thought of that question until I met, you know, with Tony Robbins. And it was just such an exciting thrill again, you know, to finally have someone inspire me with that actual question. It's how he starts many of his programs. Who are you? So who are you? And it begins with your identity. So what's the foundation of that identity? Well, there's a lot of ways to slice it, obviously. But I think one of the fundamental important ways to do it is what do you value and what do you believe in? So beliefs are nothing more than the things that you believe are true or not true. So where do these beliefs come from? So a lot of what happens, as I've discussed here on this show, our beliefs come from the downloads. A lot of our beliefs come from the downloads that we get, from the early ages of our life, usually up to about the age of 7. And what happens then is that they just get downloaded, unfiltered into your unconscious mind. A lot of these are from the people around you, your parents. If you're lucky enough to have great parents, maybe you're going to get a lot of great downloads. If you're not lucky to have some great parents, then you're going to have also a lot of great downloads, depending on how you choose to interpret these things. And that's the key issue. one of the greatest phrases that I enjoy, and your worst times can be your best times. And it really depends on how you choose to interpret these things. And that's when we go later on in this show about meaning. And write that note down as well. We need to talk about the meaning of things. Because the same event, and again, we're not responding to a particular event. And that's where the big confusion is. We're not responding to or reacting to a particular event. We're actually responding and reacting to the meaning that we actually give an event. Very different. Same thing with money. It's funny how people get all stressed out at times about money. And they say that money is a bad thing. Well, money is just a thing. It's a concept. We have chosen to give it certain meanings. So dialing back to the imprinting, the first 7 years of our lives with all these downloads that are basically unfiltered. So again, from the people around us, from our siblings, our teachers, our families, and other things. So those are the downloads in the spoken word in essence. But then you also have the experiences, the actual experiences, and some of which can be actually quite traumatic. And then, of course, is if it is a traumatic experience, the meaning that the immature brain then gives to that. And that then carries through the rest of your life. That becomes your identity. And your identity then, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that then manifests itself in what it is that you do in life based on that compass, the compass of yours in life. So traumatic experiences, immature brain processing them, giving that certain meaning, and that becomes your identity today. So then the other part is what you value. And what are those emotions that you're choosing to experience? As a coach, when I start my coaching process, I usually ask them a question, what's the general emotion of your life? And oftentimes I will discover that they're negative. They're unhappy, they're sad, they're anxious, they're frustrated, they're angry. And all of this will actually make sense in one way or another. Because all you're doing is you're running a software program. Yeah, sure, the hardware, could be a problem. That happens at times. But I think for the most part, it doesn't. Unless, of course, you're that someone who's choosing to manipulate the hardware in a way that does not serve you. And that, of course, is you don't eat right, you don't move around right, and you use any types of drugs that influence you, including regular medical drugs. Oftentimes we do forget that medicines do have other impact, do have other effects on the body besides the one that we're trying to take care of. In my world, as a plastic and reconstructive surgeon, really in the art of transformation, personal transformation, I've never restricted myself to just plastic surgery, just to the physical form. It's also been the physiology. There is a body intelligence inside of us. I always talk about this. The brain intelligence, the body intelligence, as well as that energy intelligence. So you change the hardware in the sense of not giving yourself the right nutrition or accumulating toxins. If you didn't know this, but there's about, I think it's 250 or 350 environmental toxins around us. Where do you spend most of your time? Every single day, 24 hours a day. For most people, myself included, needing 8 hours of sleep, I'm sleeping in a bed. So what about all those things that I'm inhaling, the detergents and the linen that I'm sleeping on? Never thought of that. What about showers, chlorine, exposure? Our most intense exposure to chlorine is through the water that we shower in. So here again is understanding how you are actually changing your hardware. That will make a big difference. But that's not what today is all about. Today's about that software, your value, your beliefs, and your values. So depending on what software you've developed over time, either by those downloads or the ones that you've personally adjusted, really determines that compass as well. Has to do a lot with emotion. So I got an amazing list here that I typically work with my clients. And when we talk about values, I mean, what are they? These are things that you feel are important to you. These are things that basically emotions or beingness, if you will, right? Not all these are emotions, but these are ways of being that you put much value to for whatever reason that is. So we have to differentiate between means values. So it's the means to get to where you want to go, the end, or the ends values. What is it that you want to feel? And I think most people are really quite unconscious about that. I truly believe that people are systematically not focusing on what they really want to feel at any given time. Another thing I teach my clients, at every given moment, what is the experience that you want to have? What is the outcome? So, for example, on this call, on this radio show, my outcome is to really give you content that can significantly change your perspective or your behavior in life. Because again, beliefs and values do affect your behavior. It's the way that you filter the world around you. You shift the kinds of values that you have, you're going to, have a different way of living. When I talk to my kids, I specifically have an outcome in mind. And it's not just, to chat, to catch up. No, let me have a wonderful experience or an enlightening experience with my own children when I'm on the phone call so that we can get even more connected and have even a more loving relationship than we had just before the call. It's always building up, developing that relationship, enhancing that relationship with my children. The same thing, when you take your kids to school, are you just the chauffeur for them? Or why not use the 5 or 10 minutes and have an interesting perspective of what the day is going to be like for them so that you get a sense of, where they may have some particular challenges and where you as a parent can actually support them. And so these are important things then to consider, having that outcome. And so what are the values? So there's a value of bliss. It's one that most of us would probably like to enjoy more than we actually do. How about happiness? Again, my theory on happiness is that we all desire divine happiness. And how is it that we actually get that? That's the purpose for prescription-free transformation. Again, what prevents you from being happy? What prevents you from being loved? What prevents you from being free? And those are the questions that we can ask ourselves. Why not resolve whatever makes us unhappy? It's a simple idea, perhaps not so easy to resolve, but that then depends on your beliefs and values. If you believe that you can never be happy, asking the question, why am I so miserable all the time? I hear that all the time. Why can't I lose the weight? Why am I depleted energetically? Having the focus on the negative isn't going to help you. So that's why when we ask ourselves what prevents, we can look on the other side to find out what is it that we can actually have. So more values: health, harmony, passion, pleasure. Then wealth, wisdom, all these things that you can actually experience. And when you look in the dictionary for values, there's a whole ton of them. Let me stay with the ends ones. Ecstasy, cool, energy, excitement, fun, joy, love, pleasure, safety, security, self-confidence. That's one that's lacking a lot of people. And a lot of people are asking themselves, why am I so inconfident? Why do I have such a bad self-esteem? Success. How about that one? Vitality, aesthetics, adventure, achievement. Here's one of my favorites: authenticity. So interesting enough, depending on your order of values, and I was very fortunate to hang out, at one of Tony Robbins' events this last week. And that's one of the key things that he talks about. What are your values? What is the order of the values? How does somebody actually show up depending on the order of your particular values? See, my top 3 values, and it took me, 3 events with Tony Robbins. Maybe I'm a slow learner. I don't know what that is. To figure out that my top 3 values are health, love, and universal connection. It used to be different. It used to be certainty in meaning and honesty and integrity. And yeah, sure, all those are important. But by changing the order of my values, I realized that my whole life took a whole different dimension. And I'm very grateful to the experience with Tony Robbins at his events that I was able to accomplish that. So think for a moment yourself. What are your values? Is it joy? Is it happiness? And how much do you actually tap into that? How much do you actually get to experience for yourself? When was the last time you actually thought about it? And if you haven't thought about it, why not? Is life so distracting? Are you just settling? There's a great quote that my coach shared with me today. Do you settle for what you get, or do you get what you settle for? Let me say that again. Do you settle for what you get, which I think most people will do, or do you get what you settle for? And if that's the case, if you're one of those people that really gets what they want, then why don't you settle for more? That was a great definition that I heard, I think it was a news anchor some time ago, is settle for more, ask for more, demand for more. The truth is there's 10 times more inside of you. If you just allowed yourself to recognize that and acknowledge that. Again, an experience that I have with my clients. I typically start off with what are 10 great things that are non-achievement related by you. And it's a fun process because they talk about humor, they talk about love, they talk about integrity and loyalty and discipline, determination. And then we start addressing some of the things that they're having struggles with. And then we identify with the things that are blocking them. And it's awesome when we can tap into that resourcefulness. A lot of people talk about, well, I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the intelligence. I don't have the education. And that's just silly. That's how I thought at one time until I understood about personal power. Actually, that's a trademark name of Tony Robbins, by the way. But your personal power, your personal empowerment, that's your internal resourcefulness. That's your ability to get things done. That's your psychology. And again, your identity, your beliefs, your values. You see, one of the things that I value is always setting a new standard, always stepping up. What is it that I can do more? One of my past relationships, I was very much criticized for that. She said to me, you're never happy. And I says, no, I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast to find out what else there's there. What more can I experience? What more can I give? By my own nature, I'm a very generous person. And it's just fun, just giving. But that standard can sometimes get in our way. One of my clients said, I don't know when I'm giving enough. And when it really comes to giving, just be a giving person. That's it. There is no standard for that. Not at all. It's enjoying and being that person that just gives, contributing to the world around you. But standards are indeed important. Are you going to settle for a lower standard? And my challenge to people out there, what is more? What is a higher standard? I forget the author who said this. I think it's Williamson is the last name. Is that people are not so much fearful of failure. They're fearful of stepping into their greatness. Again, I had a client today who was very much reluctant to accept compliments because in her past, her parent, with doing the best that she could with who she was and the life manual, if you will, would say to her, look, you're not good enough. And so for years and years and years, that was her drive because she had this belief that she wasn't good enough. But she valued wanting to be the most that she could be, to be big, to be successful. And she didn't want to be that person that was going to be rejected because she wasn't good enough, but that's how she felt. And so that's the challenge that we get sometimes, is that we get honored with a belief that doesn't serve us. The truth is, in her particular case, it's what got her to where she is today. And the fun thing about today's call is we made that shift to say, great, tap into your success today and build on that success. Build on the incredible things that you are. And instead of rejecting, the compliments that people are giving you, step into that greatness, step into that potential success, and not worry about failure. Because again, her fear as well was a fear to step into her greatness, because that could also lead to their own failure. And there's another saying, I like this one too. It's not so much that we understand that things are difficult. It's that we don't make them difficult enough. See, our growth comes from challenging us. Our growth comes from stress. Yes, it's wonderful to have a life of contentment and happiness and having that most of the time. Finding yourself in that place in your zone. And again, that's tapping into that compass. That compass for you. What is it going to be for 2019? What is yours going to be for 2019? But what's important here then is just allowing yourself to be in that flow as best as you can, being self-aware of those beliefs and the values and how they're aligned, how you can shift them, but still get out of that comfort zone. That's where the stress happens. That's where the growth happens. Children, especially, they exercise, they're out there, and they'll grow. Their bones will get stronger. They get longer. It's all about stress. The way the physiology of the bone, how that works is they get elongate, if you will, because of the stress that's within the bone structure. So stress is important. So why not have a little bit of stress, 10, maybe 15%, as you learn, as you allow yourself to value more in your life. So how do we get there? All right. Well, we have to have means values that get us to that place. And these are like acceptance, aspiration, intention, audacity, competition. Competition is a good one. Oftentimes people don't like competition. Again, because they feel that they may lose and they become insignificant. But what I learned is that the Latin word of competition means to conspire together to become more. And I think the Olympic Games were based on that, competing with each other so that we can grow. Oftentimes, people will complain in business. There's too much competition. Well, then you're choosing not to grow. Again, what is it that you're valuing? Are you valuing comfort? Are you valuing security? And if you value those, then that might just prevent you from becoming more. Creativity, decisiveness, discipline, effectiveness, efficiency, empathy, endurance, equality, exclusivity, fairness. These are some of the things that we talk about when it comes to means values. So moving on, as we look at our compass, your beliefs, what do you believe in? And oh, by the way, here's an important part about beliefs. You can change your beliefs. And there's a little equation. It's called PARB, P-A-R-B. Potential. So we all have some sort of potential. So I have the potential to ride a bike. So let's say I'm 4 years old, maybe 3, maybe 5. Can't remember when I actually started. But we start with, having the potential. Well, I see some other kid on a bike. I look like the other kid. I got 2 legs. I got 2 arms. So there's the potential to ride a bike. The A from PARB, P-A-R-B, is action. So I take action. I do something. It's just with anything. You have a thought. You make a decision and you do something. What happens? You get a result. So it's the R part. And based on that result, we create a belief. So if you have a belief out there somewhere that you don't like, then you have to ask yourself, all right, what else is possible? Where else is the potential? And then take action, experiment, get a result, change the belief. So it's a critical part of how we can shift our lives by also asking the right questions. You know, our brain does ask 3 questions. What I focus on, what does it mean? And what am I going to do about this? Actually, there's a fourth one. You know, what is it that I really want? How about having a life that you really want? Why not go after what you want? When was the last time that you actually chose and thought seriously about planning what you want, scheduling it, and then getting it? So interesting enough, that relates to motivation. Are you motivated in life? So motivation, basically, that's our energy. Are we doing the things that we like to do? It's our relationship with the outside world. Are you motivated or demotivated? But let's step back for a second and differentiate between internal motivations and external motivations. How does that work for you? You know, science has shown that when we rely on an external motivation, which oftentimes as parents for sure we like to utilize with our own kids. You would mow the lawn and I'm going to pay you for it. But that dies pretty soon. Unless, of course, there's an internal motivation to want that child to actually want the money. So if they have a special mission or project, but oftentimes it isn't there. And business has also relied on that heavily over the years. It's a carrot and the stick philosophy. And still many businesses and institutions rely on that. You get rewarded when you do what they say you must do, and you get punished when you don't. But the truth is, even with the rewards, that's typically short-lived. And actually, oftentimes, and science has shown this, will have an adverse effect. So the child, after a while, says, no, I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't care about the money. I don't care about that external reward. It just doesn't interest me. And it causes resentment. It causes misalignment. Because they're not out of that integrity of self. And that's where the internal motivations are really important. So again, you know, when I coach, it's about tapping into what excites you, what gives you passion, what fills you up, what energizes you. And appreciating what that internal motivation is and finding the vehicles and understanding your purpose, your strength of purpose to ensure that distractions that do happen in life don't take you away from mending or taking care of your own motivations. You've got to nurture your soul. You got to nurture your spirit. You got to nurture your passion and your mission in life. Those things that excite you. Most of the time, everything that I do excites me. Sometimes there's too many things that I like to do. And that can be a problem. Actually, I remember going back in medical school. I actually first wanted to be a pediatrician, you know, being the kid inside that loves to play. And found out quickly that all the different specialties that I did my rotations on, I loved them almost equally as well. And so I reached a point where I couldn't do it all. There's no way I can be every single specialist. It's just not possible. I would need like 150 years to go through all the residencies. And so it's important then for you then to realize, okay, by your values, by the order of your values, ensuring that you get fulfillment of what it is that you value the most, making sure that the order of those values are the best way, And so that you can have the most fulfilling life and be at peace with who you are and what you achieve. Having that self-awareness and consciously choosing, planning that out as you look at 2019, looking back at 2018, maybe 2017, and ask yourself, what is it that I really enjoy doing? What were those experiences like? And understanding what that value is. What was that emotion? Was it creativity? Was it fun? Was it connection? Was it family? Was it relationships? Was it making a difference? Was it freedom? Was it being that celebrity? Was it being recognized? So what are they for you? What does wealth fit in? The abundance. Do you have enough? Is there scarcity in your life? And so interpreting these different things with emotional tag on it is really important. What is your mood in respect to this? Is it ecstatic? Is it triumphant? Is it happy? Is it lighthearted? Is it satisfied? Is it encouraging? Is it purposeful or determined? The flip side, anxious, upset, despairing, miserable, downhearted, gloomy. That's where you have to start asking your questions. What was 2018 like? What was it for you? What did you like? What did you love? What did you not like? What do you want to repeat again? What do you not want to repeat again? And as you look forward to 2019, deciding what the end of 2019 looks like. Who is that person? Who did that person become? Who is that person being? What are the standards that you chose? How do you decide on what success is? And so as you look back, so if you can envision yourself in 2019, can you see what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you felt in 2019? Maybe Christmas. What were the gifts that entire year gave you? And then look back at the entire year. In fact, write it down. Write down what your perfect day is. Who were you being on that day? What were your beliefs about yourself on that day? What were you valuing on that day? Who did you become on that day? And looking back for the entire year, all the things that you did and what it took. What are those means, values? Was it discipline? Was it integrity? But also understanding the emotions that you're constantly able to feel because you were making the progress in life. We're happiest when we're growing. We're happiest when we're making progress. As human beings, we are creatures of meaning, but we're also creatures of having a purpose. Everything must have a purpose. Without a purpose, it's not going to work. We're not going to feel wholesome. We also believe as humans, what's important in our identity is mastery. Having a purpose, having mastery. But also, this is the big one, and perhaps the most important one, is freedom. Freedom to be you. Freedom to be witnessed. Freedom to be vulnerable. What are you holding back? What emotions are you repressing? Who are you not allowing yourself to become because somebody told you couldn't? There's a saying that when people want to do the things that they want to do, they call them selfish, self-centered, narcissistic, all these things. There's mass confusion about what the real meaning of narcissism. Narcissism is basically looking in the mirror and expecting the world around you to see you in the way that you want to be seen, not the way that you are. That's not authentic. But making people be and behave in the way that you seem fit, now that's selfish. We all deserve to be self-actualized. But here's the thing. There are rules. in different environments, there are rules. And I had a wonderful experience in some of the events that I do. I'm constantly learning. Yeah, a bunch of challenges too and hiccups here and there, but that's what life is all about. If they're not there, we're not going to learn. Nothing is ever perfect. But when you can navigate, because when you have that compass, I always want to use the word moral compass. It's not the moral compass. It's your life compass. And curveballs are going to be thrown at you. But when you can stay straight by doing the work, understanding what your beliefs and values are, is really actually going to help you get to where you want to go. And so what's important to realize then is, who are your friends? Friends do one of two things. Either they just enable your behavior because they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they expect a higher standard for you. And unfortunately, I think we need to redefine what a great friend is. And a great friend expects the best out of you that you can't see yourself. Those are the kinds of friends that I want. And so we need to be challenged. We need to be pushed. We need to be told that, yes, you're better than this. And it's not comfortable at times. And if you don't have someone out there like a coach who can challenge you to be better, then you have to get one. Because they're going to help you dissect, again, your beliefs, your values, understand, the meaning of these and how it affects your life, what you can't see. Setting that higher standard for yourself. Getting what you settle for and settle for more in that process. Procrastination is an interesting thing. And I had this discussion the other day with someone. Because procrastination basically oftentimes also leads to a lot of internal stress. And then at the last minute, you really work hard to get things done. And all that is that you're motivated by external motivation. And you're pushed by the stress because of the external motivation is on you in this moment that makes you do the things that you really don't want to do. So the internal motivation is going to be really important for all of us. So that was a little sidestep there because I knew it was important. But it's about rules. What are your rules for the things that you value in life? What does it take to feel love? And it's funny because we're so wired to see what's wrong. And all we have to do is look at and see what's right in life. And again, you don't want to get stuck on the positive affirmations like, everything's going to be fine. Just be loving, just be happy. That just doesn't work. My coach was telling me today, and Chad Cooper, by the way, and talking to me today about, the misconception that we've gotten from Eastern philosophy, unfortunately, has done a major disservice for us in that we just have to accept things as they are, put that intention out there and you'll get it. Well, guess what? You can do that. You can have that intention, but with it comes a lot of hard work. Without it, you're not going to get it. And I've been a victim of it as well. It's kind of screwy. So just think that, and then it'll work out. And for years and years, I would just think that. It wouldn't happen until I realized, well, I got to do the work. So where are you not doing the work? What's the work that you're not doing? What's the work that you're running away from? What are the distractions that you're allowing to happen? And all of these are rules. Something else that Tony Robbins this last week, but one of his best programs ever, he's been doing this for over 30 years, called Date with Destiny. If you really want to have a deep immersion and make a major shift. And for those out there who don't really understand that, I'm guessing that most people that are listening to me really are already in the personal development world. and totally appreciate this. But I'm going to stick my head up and say this about these kinds of events. I watched almost 5,000 people have some incredible transformations in their lives. And their personal stories are at times just devastating, or just incredibly challenging. And here they come out of this, just totally transform new people. And where the world of medicine and psychology and psychiatry spend years and years and years helping people just make amends with their past and not really getting anywhere in their lives, Tony Robbins gets to do this in 5 days. The massive transformation. Yes, these people need to continue the work, and he says that. You got to condition the work afterwards. But it's a beautiful thing. It takes years and years by individual therapy, and it's just teaching us to think in a different way. Understanding how we process stuff, and then allowing us to have a better way of choosing what it is that we want in our lives. Again, beliefs, values, and focus, and giving things meaning, and then incorporating it energetically in our body and our physicality. So you want to change your life, then the decisions you've made till this moment weren't the right ones. So get a new operating manual. Get a coach. There's tons of wonderful coaches out there. Read the great books that are out there. Start transforming your life. All these people who've made incredible inroads in their life. These exponential entrepreneurs. I love that word. These exponential entrepreneurs that are putting, rockets in space, creating the most amazing things, changing the way that we look at life. That's what they've done. So why not you? Why not move the blocks away, change the story, make new decisions, and find the people that can help you make those decisions? That's the purpose of Prescription for Your Transformation. It's just giving you that inspiration to learn more, to grow, to find out who can actually be there to help you, setting a new standard, telling yourself a new story, get energized. The other day, I committed with my wife that we're going to do on this 39-day cleanse. This was like 39 days before Christmas. And we were all excited about it. It's like, yes, it lasted, sad to say, only 5 days. Reason being, for me, my excuse, my story, well, I was traveled to the Ukraine, where I went out there to help develop a new center to do stem cell surgery, something I'm very passionate about. And so because I was traveling and I couldn't get access to the food, and the food in Ukraine was really awesome, I broke my commitment. So once again, we realized it failed. Okay. Not beating ourselves up, but trying something new. And now we're going to do a 10-day cleanse. Well, I'm traveling in 4 days, so hopefully I will have the ability to acquire raw food for the next 5 days that I'm traveling, so I can get the results. My point is, if you're not happy with where you are, you got to make new decisions. You got to tap into your own resourcefulness, knowing that it's there for you, tapping into your beliefs. Can I do this? What's great about me? What are my successes in the past? And help you decide and determine what you value. What's that emotion? What's that experience at the end of 2019? What do you want to feel? Is it achievement? Is it happiness? Is it contribution? Is it abundance? Is it vitality? Is it wealth? Is it gratitude? If you want instant success, then be grateful. When was the last time you checked in what you're grateful for? My coach again. I have to answer this questionnaire. What I want to do more of, and what am I grateful for? It's a constant reminder that I'm grateful for my wife, for my kids, for my coach, for my friends, for my opportunities, for my health, my parents, my brothers and sisters that I don't have sisters, but my brothers, or the other kind of sisters. So recognizing that you're not alone in this world. And so that when we're challenged, when we're stuck, it's because there's conflict in those beliefs and values. So for the end of this year, explore. Ask yourself, what are my beliefs? How do my beliefs affect my success today? It's your responsibility. You're not the victim. Yes, actually, that's not true. You are the victim of your misconceptions. But your life will change when you assume responsibility for where you are and not blame the rest of the world for what's not. People who actually complain, I really learned this and I've taken this to heart. When people complain about other people and start labeling them, start telling their stuff, that's really a confession about themselves. It absolutely is. And so what are you confessing to? What are you gossiping about other people? Gossip, by the way, oftentimes is a way we get to connect. Find a better way to connect. Tap into that soul that's yours, that's honest, that wants to dream, that wants to be connected, that wants to be witnessed, that doesn't want to be judged. I don't know anybody who wants to be judged. So stop judging others. Stop confessing who you really are to the rest of the world. That's a problem we have in today's world, particularly here in the United States. They're complaining about all these different, quotes. At some point, we're not going to be able to talk because there's going to be so many words that have to be excluded. At one point, I'm sure the word G-O-D is going to be excluded, from our vocabulary because it's going to offend somebody. It just doesn't make sense. Why not just value diversity? Why not just value the differences in people? Value yourself, because then you're valuing yourself and not making other people wrong. And it goes all ways. Stop making other people wrong and stop, ostracizing others or being mean to others. It's just not constructive. Because at the end of the day, is that really your compass? Is that the compass that you want? Is that what you value the most? See, when we look at other people and see what's wrong, then actually somewhere that's a reflection that we're not honoring what we really believe in or want to believe in or value. And again, that's the key issue with beliefs and values. You've got to make sure you get into alignment with that. Because when you are, you know what? It really doesn't matter what other people do. It doesn't really matter what other people think. Because the truth be told is that we are not our behaviors. There generally is a beautiful human being inside everyone. Unfortunately, not everyone has the resources or resourcefulness to be the best that they can be. They're in pain. They're hurting. Guess what? You're hurting. Anytime there's that internal dissonance, as I call it, anytime there's that internal disruption, and the coolest thing is that when I get to connect with large groups and other people, I get to be challenged in so many different ways. And it's that internal disruption or dissonance that I'm actually looking for. And I don't like it, but it's what I'm looking for so that I can make that shift. What is it that I can improve in my own self? Removing the blocks, removing the masks, removing the things that prevent us from tapping into that absolute wholeness and alignment. We are put in this earth to become whole. There's nothing broken in any of us. It's just that the software that you have isn't working in the best possible way for you. So realize that. Have that self-awareness. Most successful people have that. But there's a second part to that. Are you aware of all of it? Are you taking care of all of it? Are you balanced? Right now, my physical form is not balanced. and I'm hurting because of that. And so then I have to ask myself, the decisions that I'm making now, how does that affect my future? The decisions that you're making right now, how does it affect your future? Have you thought of that? Coming back, beliefs, values. Where can I stretch? How can I grow? What's the beingness that I need to become so that I can have our results or the results I want in life? So again, here's what's important. 2019 is coming up. Are you going to wait till New Year's Eve to figure out what 2019 is going to be all about? Is that what's going to happen? You know the story. You're full of emotion, maybe enhanced by all sorts of libations. And then you get pumped up, you get excited. And January 1st, you join a gym and you go to the supermarket and buy all sorts of healthy things. And by January 5th, it's all gone. It's over. That's what happens. Some people last maybe 30 days, but I think the maximum average is about 30 days. So why not set up yourself to win? Why not accelerate now to the end of the year, looking back at what you set out to accomplish in 2018 and realizing what you accomplished? What did you value? What did you believe in? What was great about those things? What did you love? And what did you hate? And then making sure that you decide and make clear what you believe in, what do you believe is possible, what do you believe your potential is. Appreciate what you value. What's that order of value? Because it's that compass at any given moment that you make decisions and behave based on the order of those values. And then decide, what do you want in 2019? Deciding and making it clear. What's measurable? If it's income, if it's the business, parameters or time or milestones. What are your business milestones? What's your evidence criteria for success? Decide on that. And if you can't decide on it, get somebody to help you. Get a coach. Hint. There's a beautiful, awesome lady by the name of Christiana Carter, and I'll have her on the show one day. And she helps you, bring out the greatness inside of you and understanding what your plan needs to be, what needs to happen to create that success. She does a process called mind mapping and blooming. Brilliant. Did some of that today, and she gave me a distinction that got me all fired up. It's like, yes, this is what I want to do. I'm ready to go forward. So what does fill you up? What do you value? What are your beliefs? What are you going to do about it? Declare to yourself and others what that must be for you. And then you got to schedule it. Schedule the entire year. Schedule the milestones. And be realistic. Especially if you have a business. How much revenue do you need to make? What's your profit? Is it gonna work? What are those connections? How many connections? How many people? What do you need to learn? How much do you need to learn? And again, how does it fit in with your beliefs and values? What motivates you? What excites you? What energizes you? So that's it for me tonight. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, prescription for your transformation, real people, real conversations, and real success. Really tapping into that authentic genius that you all have so that you can design the life that you desire. You deserve that. And also tapping into what I call the brain intelligence, the body intelligence, and the energy intelligence. So once again, thank you so much, and I will be back soon.
Thanks for listening to Dr. Rademaker's Prescription for Transformation. Join Dr. Bart Rademaker live right here on Radio Star Worldwide each week or on demand 24/7.